Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to talk about the history of money. Now let's get into it. Hope you enjoy it.
How currency evolved from pelts to paper. The history of money is fascinating and goes back thousands of years. From the early days of bartering to the first metal coins and eventually the first paper currency, money has always had an important impact on how we function as a society. In this video, we'll cover the history of money and how human beings have advanced from using a barter economy to a complex financial system with several forms of currency. What is money? Money often has no intrinsic value. Instead, money is an object with a value placed on it, allowing for the trade of goods and services. Some money, such as metal coins, has actual value in terms of the materials used. However, even these currencies derive their monetary value more from the faith people in a society put in them. Throughout the evolution of money, currencies have taken several different forms. When was money invented? The earliest evidence of money comes from around 3000 BC in ancient Mesopotamia, Middle East. Citizens would draw agricultural symbols on clay tablets to represent debts. This is the first time in history we're aware of people using a symbolic representation of value rather than a physical exchange, as in a barter market system. Before the invention of money, people traded goods and services using the barter system. One farmer might trade livestock for vegetables, while another may trade labor or lumber for livestock. These transactions were the early building blocks of our modern economy and would go on to create the future of money the world knows today. The history of bartering dates back to 6000 BC when Mesopotamian tribes introduced the concept to the Phoenicians. Goods were exchanged in the absence of money, including things like tea, salt, weapons, and food. As time went on, bartering continued to evolve, with colonial Americans trading pelts, crops, and muskets. When was money invented? The earliest evidence of money comes from around 3000 BC in ancient Mesopotamia, Middle East. Citizens would draw agricultural symbols on clay tablets to represent debts. This is the first time in history we're aware of people using a symbolic representation of value rather than a physical exchange, as in a barter market system. The first paper money was created in China during the Song dynasty in the 11th century CE. Trade played a huge part in its creation. For hundreds of years before the invention of paper money, bronze and copper coins were the main currencies in China. As international trade increased, the weight of carrying these coins became a barrier. Around 900 CE, merchants trying to get around the weight issue of carrying coins began trading transaction receipts. Early Song authorities gave a few shops a monopoly on issuing these deposit receipts. Eventually, in the 1020s, the government took over and began issuing the receipts as the first official paper money. The impacts of money throughout history. Money is arguably one of the most important parts of human history. Its invention allowed our ancestors to break out of the constraints of the barter system, where they had to physically exchange goods and services. As societies became larger, you can imagine how difficult and complex bartering may have become. If you don't have the necessary goods for a direct trade, you might have spent hours or days arranging trades between 3, 4, or even more artists. Or you may never have been able to come to a trade that all parties deemed fair. Likewise, paper currency allowed society to function more easily on a wider scale. Because paper currency was much lighter than heavy metal coins, it made international trading more convenient. Today, the decentralization of digital currency may lead to an even wider global economy. How to manage money. Knowing about the history of money and how it impacts your life can be important, but understanding how to manage your money may be even more crucial. Throughout the history of money, people have found ways to save, invest, and spend wisely, important skills for building a solid financial foundation. If you want to manage your money better, one skill you may find helpful is learning how to budget. Budgeting can help you get and stay out of debt, build an emergency fund, save up for retirement, and more. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.